more on the BMW. I volunteer for the Blood Bikes, a local blood bike group, and we used to use Yamaha 1300cc FJRs, which were shaft drive, but they're no longer available. So over the last year or two, they've been swapping over to BMW 1250 RTs. But one thing I noticed especially on the later ones, is that the horn on the RT is just way much louder and better than the horn on the earlier BMWs, including my own 2015 1200GS. I mean, the horn on this is pretty pathetic. It sort of makes a peeping noise, whereas the new RTs are really loud, sort of car-like horn. So, on strength of that, I'm going to try and improve the horn on this, my own GS. This is the current horn sound, which is actually quite loud when you're close to it, but it doesn't really come across when you're on the road in traffic. I looked online. There are obviously several options. Some of them quite expensive, but I think what I'm going to do is try and fit the car, the BMW M5 car horn, which seems to be pretty much a direct replacement. It's bigger because it's got a plastic horn on it, but it should just plug into the existing wiring, I understand. It's probably going to overload that wiring circuit, but if I only use it for short times, which is going to be the case, I'm pretty confident it will be okay. So that's the plan, just waiting for the horn to arrive. So the new horn has arrived, and this is allegedly for a car, an M5 BMW PA6, 9 on 6 again, 12 volts. It's got the same connector, I hope. It looks the same, but it's also got the this sort of acoustic horn on the side as rather than just the diaphragm. And a bracket as well. I wasn't sure whether I was going to get the bracket, but that's there too, so that's all good. Right, so I think I need to take the this panel off around the. Do I? Yeah, probably this one, which means taking off the one around the fuel cap, and probably this as well to easily get inside. So to get this panel off, I've got to take these BMW screws off, but also get this Givi tank bag fastening off as well, which is only 4 socket screws, so that's not too bad. Right, so on this 2015 GS liquid cooled, I don't need to take off the tank cover, so that's kind of annoying that I have done. Same with this as well, this can stay on. What needs to come off, by looks of it, is just this panel here, which is attached there and at the back somewhere, and then just clips into the fairing here. And there's also 2 screws coming from the inside out, picking up this this part here. So that's all good. The trouble is there's another connection down here. So down here, this part connects onto the bracketry here, and that's just a push-in stud, I think. I remember having one on the other side, which I fiddle about with it sometime. So that's not a bolt, it's a plastic little plug. I'm not quite sure at the moment how to get that out. That looks cracked to me. No, maybe not. No, I think it's alright. But yeah, on the other hand, I think just rotating this slightly and putting it away, I get access to the horn anyway. Right, so this is the panel on the side, and here is the horn. So I've taken the nut off there already, so that's the horn. So there's a bracket here, and a nice big torque screw there, which needs to come off by the looks of it. This air intake is maybe slightly in the way, but I think I'll probably get to that. Or maybe I'll undo this screw and just get this out of the way. Yeah, that's better. I can just pull that down slightly. I can get to that big Torx. So this screw is a T40, top of the horn bracket. There we go. Bracket with a captive nut on the back. So the horn itself has a little clip which you can just press that in, it releases like so. So yeah, that's the original horn with just the diaphragm. Clapton horn it says on there. Sorry, Clarton horn, C-L-A-R-T-O-N. Never heard of them. So here's the new horn, and looks certainly that the connector is the same, so that's good. And this is the low horn. So obviously there's a high horn in the car, as well as the low one, 410 hertz. So I think this bracket is a slightly different length, but no, it isn't. It's the same length. So this original captive nut comes off okay. New one. So that's going to go on that way around, I think. So that needs to be that way. Yep, it's good. I'll just slacken off this one so I can reorient it. So there's a bit of petroleum jelly on here, just to lubricate things and protect against corrosion, even though it shouldn't be an issue because the plug and socket are sealed. There you go, that clicked into place. So then this bracket can go up here. I think in fact I'm going to take this nut off completely for a start. Put the bracket on and then the other end. Then reattach at this end. Just make life a bit easier. Okay, so that's loosely done up. Put this end back on. Now this doesn't quite fit because of this plastic up here. Bending this way might help a bit. There we go. I'm going to put some Loctite on that. Right, so that nut is on with a bit of Loctite. Before I go any further, I'm just going to make sure it works electrically. So that definitely works. And it does sound to me distinctly louder than it did before. So I just finished doing this up. I'll do up this T40 as well. Okay, so that's done. The electrical connector looks fine. The bracket is fine. I had to bend the bracket this way slightly so that the horn clears the plastic behind the underneath the cockpit, and that looks fine. And I'll say obviously works as well, so that's good. On this particular horn, with the connector at the back where it needs to be, it's facing directly down, which is kind of a shame in a way, and I'd like to project the sound forwards. but there again it's not going to fill up with water, so I think that's good, and it obviously is out in the fresh air anyway once all this is back together. So I think actually that's probably a good place for it to be. Right, so I'll put the panels back on, and we're all done. I'll just reattach this air intake on the front of the fairing. So this has got a hook here, and these two attachment points here. So yeah, let's try and get this back in. Right, I've got this aftermarket, rather pointless grill on here, but I did a video on this because the grill started to go rusty, so I replaced them with a mesh from a bird cage or a bird feeder, and that seems to be holding up much better. Next screw is back here. And this is just a Torx. So as it turns out, I needn't have taken this panel off or undone this either. All I need to do is this front side on the radiator. So anyway, I'll stick this back. As it happens, it wasn't a bad thing to take this off because the this cable here for the GPS receiver for the tracker, oh sorry, for the cameras that is, that was routed just under here, which seemed to be opening up a gap between the top cover and this side panel. So I've tucked that around, rerouted it slightly. So I'm optimistic that that will now close up the gap that was here. So at the end of the day, it's quite straightforward really. All I needed to have taken off was just this side panel, undo that air intake fixing, bend this side panel out of the way. Oh, I need to put the screws in the other side. Fit the new horn, bend the bracket out slightly so that it clears the plastic underneath the cockpit, and it's good to go. So it's going to draw more current, I assume, than the original horn, so it would be as well not to use it for too long, hold it on for more than a few seconds. So yeah, relatively straightforward, but it does seem to be a benefit in terms of the horn being louder and more easily heard by other traffic. Thanks for watching.